Montana's Republican legislative leaders issued a strongly worded letter to Governor Steve Bullock today, asking him to rescind some of his coronavirus directives and consider easing restrictions in some counties. The letter, made public this morning, was signed by top Republican leaders in the Montana House and Senate, including Senate President Scott Sales of Bozeman and House Speaker Greg Hertz of Polson. It said the governor should rethink his response and look to re-engage the economy, perhaps by lifting restrictions in counties with no coronavirus cases or that have had no additional cases lately. Half of Montana's 56 counties, most of them rural, have yet to report a case of COVID-19. The Republicans also say orders by Bullock, including the stay-at-home directive, shutting down certain types of businesses and staying eviction orders and foreclosures, are without constitutional or statutory basis. Governor Bullock responded to the criticism from Republican leaders this afternoon in a news conference at the state capitol. He stood by his administration's directives, saying he believed they were in line with the state constitution and with the best public health practices. He said the state will open schools and businesses when it's safe to do so. Bullock said the state has seen relatively slow growth in COVID-19 cases in recent weeks. He argued that showed social distancing and other measures were having an effect, but that it was too early to say those measures should be relaxed.
I know it's frustrating that we can't give a date certain when things will get to some degree of normal again. The decisions are going to be guided by the ongoing data and the science, not politics.
Bullock's current directives, including a stay-at-home order and closure of public schools, were extended through April 24th. He said there won't be any changes before that time. Well, checking the latest COVID-19 statistics in Montana from the governor's coronavirus task force, we start with some good news again. 197 people have recovered from coronavirus. At last report, there are 399 confirmed reported cases in total. 7 people have died, 50 have been hospitalized. Cascade County has 13 total cases. Tue County has 26. The first wave of stimulus checks has hit some Montanans' bank accounts. According to the IRS, direct deposits started coming in over the weekend. Under the coronavirus economic relief package, Americans are set to receive up to $1,200 and $2,400 for a couple making $150,000 or less, plus $500 per child. Anyone who makes more than $99,000 a year won't receive a stimulus check. If you don't typically file a tax return, you can enter your information on the IRS website. And if you're a taxpayer who doesn't use direct deposit, you'll be able to enter your bank information later this week. Everyone else will have to wait for a paper check, expected to take significantly longer. Today, the Federal Aviation Administration announced it will award over $73 million in coronavirus relief to 71 airports across Montana. According to the FAA, the funding will support continuing operations and help lost revenue resulting from the sharp decline in passenger traffic and other airport business due to the coronavirus pandemic. The funds are available for airport capital expenditures, airport operating expenses, including payroll and utilities, and airport debt payments. Great Falls International Airport Director John Faulkner says that the money will help both the airport and individual airlines.
The way most airports work is the airlines pay for everything that we can't recover from passenger revenues or from rents and development. And so obviously as activity's gone down, that increases the airline rate. So we really want to step forward and help our terminal tenants by stabilizing those costs and ensuring that we're offering rates that are on the economic side of the industry.
The funding is part of the Trump administration's Coronavirus Aid, Relief, and Economic Security Act Airport Grant Program. Well, last month, several U.S. senators came under intense scrutiny when it was revealed they significantly altered their investments after a private January briefing by federal officials on the coming coronavirus crisis. Montana senators weren't part of that briefing, but MTN's Mike Dennison took a look at the investment actions of our entire congressional delegation this year and has more.
Republican Senator Steve Daines' office says he's made no stock transactions this year of more than $1,000. And Democratic Senator Jon Tester's office says he's made no investment changes this year. Most of their transactions must be reported within 30 days of occurring, and neither senator has made any filings this year. Their next personal financial disclosure report is due next month on May 15th. Republican Congressman Greg Gianforte, who's running for governor, has made more than 200 investment transactions this year. But his campaign says Gianforte's wealth is managed through a blind investment agreement, with a manager making the decisions without Gianforte's knowledge or input. Gianforte's transactions included stock purchases of several drug companies that have worked on coronavirus-related projects, such as the Swiss firm Roche Holdings or a Japanese firm Chugai Pharmaceutical. Those buys have prompted political opponents to accuse Gianforte of profiting from the outbreak. The campaign of Montana Attorney General Tim Fox, who's opposing Gianforte in the three-way Republican gubernatorial primary, went so far as to say Gianforte is profiting from insider trading. Gianforte's campaign declined to respond directly to these allegations. Instead, it said he had no prior knowledge of the trades and that they are only 10 transactions out of more than 200 made by his independent investment manager. Those other investment purchases and sales with Gianforte's money ran the gamut, in everything from bank stocks to bonds that are helping build a school in Dillon, Montana. Montana's delegation also say they didn't get any detailed briefings on the coronavirus outbreak until late February, well after the meeting that led to the accusations against the other senators. In Helena, I'm Mike Dennison, MTN News.
Gianforte's transaction reports for his investments are filed with the U.S. House Clerk's Office and are available online. Well, earlier today, our Storm Tracker weather team was tracking a nice warm-up, but that nice weather isn't going to last a whole lot longer. Brandon, now you've got your eyes on the radar.
Yeah, we do. We've got a little bit of rain falling, got some snow falling as well tonight, and we're going to see a lot more of that snow as we head through the evening hours. Let's take a look at what we've got on the Doppler network. More green than blue, but that is starting to change a little bit. That boundary where you're seeing most of that precipitation falling, that's the cold front. So behind that, see places like Glasgow are a little chillier. They're already seeing some snow there. In Great Falls, a little too warm for snow at this point, but not by much. We're at 40 degrees currently. We've got a southwest wind at 7 miles per hour, so that tells us that cold front has not passed through Great Falls yet. It will be doing that in the coming few hours, so as that does, we're probably going to see a little bit of rain and then quickly see that rain transition over to snow as our temperatures do fall below freezing overnight. I think we're looking at an overnight low of about 27 degrees here in Great Falls with that wind out of the west but turning to the north at 5 to 10 miles per hour. We'll see that north wind tomorrow. Quite a bit cooler, 36 degrees with snow through the day. The heavier snow at this point looks late tonight into early tomorrow morning, but we are going to be tracking some showers through the day, and we'll have a lot more on those snow showers later in the show.
All right, thanks, Brandon. 3 grizzly bear cubs were rescued by Montana Fish, Wildlife and Parks over the weekend. The cubs were from a sow involved in a surprise encounter with a hiker near Tue on Wednesday evening. The sow, which was shot and injured by the hiker, was euthanized by FWP. With the help of an area ranching family, 3 grizzly bear cubs were rescued and taken to Montana Wild on Saturday. The ranching family spotted 3 cubs in a nearby field. The cubs were huddled together and playing. The family called FWP to report the cubs. While waiting, the family were able to gently rope the cubs and keep them in one area. A neighboring rancher offered a barrel in which to place the cubs. FWP is working to find a permanent placement for those cubs at an accredited association of zoos. Grizzly bear cubs cannot be released back into the wild. Coming up, staying at home can be tough both physically and mentally. We're looking at some of the ways to stay healthy during this time. And still to come, how the coronavirus is creating some challenges for farmers going into the spring season.
Powered by the Montana Television Network. The 10 o'clock news continues on KRTV, Montana's news leader.
Welcome back. Whether or not going to the gym was a part of your daily routine before all this happened and the statewide stay-at-home order, it has the potential to impact your physical and mental health. It might be difficult to stay healthy while you're stuck at home, but as MTN's Matt Holzaffel shows us, you don't have to do it alone.
Exercising during coronavirus doesn't look like this.
We know that the online aspect of our business is going to continue to be an important part of our strategy moving forward. So we are in the process of developing an even more sort of focused online health coaching program that will continue and grow after we return back to business.
When businesses are closed and you're stuck at home, it's easy to lose your routine. That can take a toll on both your physical and mental health.
the physical side effects of being sedentary are pretty serious. I think people are staying relatively active, but their activity is changing. And, I worry a lot about people's mental health and their mental well-being during this time. But it's easy to get derailed off of our, routines.
Tamara says that being home more often means it's easier to open up the fridge and start snacking. She says that when she asked the gym's members how they were doing at home, a lot of them said they were stressed and turning to comfort food.
A lot of my clients are saying, I'm still doing the workouts, but my eating is way out of whack. When you're not, when you were going to work before, and now you're not, just being so close to the fridge, it's really hard to regulate your timing of your nutrition. And I've been talking to our members a lot about that.
One major thing people can keep in mind while they try to stay healthy at home: you're not alone.
Especially if, exercising and eating healthy was part of your everyday and you just completely fallen off track, just in terms of fitness. Being alone and kind of isolating yourself can be a really dangerous place for that. So it's just important to reach out, ask for help, and whether it's from a friend or from a trainer or somebody you trust.
99, 100. In Great Falls, Matt Holzapfel, MTN News.
Oh, we didn't see the first, 98 of those, but we'll trust him. Today, Anchor Fitness introduced a community fitness challenge. It includes prizes like gift cards to local businesses. You can find more information about that on our website. Well, new research is showing how the coronavirus can spread on your shoes. The CDC says testing at Chinese hospitals found high concentrations of the virus on floors, and they say the virus was able to live on healthcare workers' shoes. They were tracking it to other parts of the hospital where patients hadn't been, like the pharmacy. Testing also revealed high amounts of the virus on computer mice, trash cans, and doorknobs.
Well, we are tracking some rain tonight and some snow. We're going to see a lot more of that snow, though, as we head through the overnight hours. We'll have the forecast up next.
Now, here's your Storm Tracker weather forecast with meteorologist Brandon Michaels.
Well, we've got quite a bit of green and quite a bit of blue showing up on the Doppler network. You can see temperatures are starting to get a little bit colder behind this line right here. That's the cold front. Not a huge change. 37 right now in Glasgow, but it's cold enough to show some snow showers in that area. Still a good amount of rain mixed in. We're still at 40 degrees in Great Falls, so that's definitely a little bit too warm for snow at this point. But that cold air is just going to continue to flow down through the night tonight. And as it does behind that front, we are going to be seeing the changeover to mostly a snow event, and that's going to linger into tomorrow morning. Really, it's late tonight into early tomorrow morning for places like Great Falls, Lewistown, along the Rocky Mountain front, into the mountains, that we're going to see those heavier snow bands developing. You can see those still lingering by about 8:30 and then starting to die down. By noon, not as much going on, and certainly into the afternoon hours. We're definitely just looking at a couple of scattered flurries here and there, not the concentrated snow that we're going to be starting our Wednesday off with. So there's some good news there. But even with that kind of brief window for heavier snow, it's enough of an impact for a winter weather advisory to be in effect. So the National Weather Service has put this into effect Tuesday night. So tonight, actually, it's already in effect. It started about an hour ago through about 3 p.m. tomorrow. So we've got some impacts from that. Most of the impacts, the significant impacts, are going to be at the higher elevations. We're not going to see a ton of snow down at the lower elevations. 46 for Morass Pass, 8 to 12 Kings Hill Pass, 6 to 10 for Rogers, 5 to 8 inches expected for McDonald Pass. So good amount of snow in the mountains there. Not so much the lower elevations. You can see in general those shades of purple stay toward the higher terrain. 1 to 3 for Great Falls, areas to the south into the foothills that usually get a little bit more snow, like Belt will probably see a little bit more. 3 to 5 for Geyser, 1 to 3 for Cutbank. Again, you get closer to the higher terrain and to the Rocky Mountain front. Browning and St. Mary is probably going to see a little bit more. And then really not much for accumulation off to the north and east, maybe an inch or two though over toward Hayes. With the snow in the forecast, we would expect temperatures to be falling below freezing, and that's exactly going to be the case. 27 for Glasgow overnight tonight, 22 for Scobie, 27 for Great Falls, and 30 for the overnight low in Fort Benton. And then really not much of a warm up through the day tomorrow. Temperatures really staying pretty stagnant through the early part of the day. Hardly any change between about 8 a.m. and noon, and then we start to warm up a little bit into the afternoon hours, but it's still definitely below average for this time of year. So it's going to be another chilly day for our Wednesday. We'll take a look at the actual highs we're expecting right now. Some spots, Geyser, Lewistown, White Sulphur Springs, not even making it above freezing. So very, very chilly. 36 for Great Falls, 34 for the high temperature in Cutbank. Harlem up to 39, and in general, a little bit warmer off to the east. 41 for Malta, 43 for Glasgow, 42 in Jordan. We're not expecting that that fresh layer of snow there. So that's part of the reason the temperatures are going to be a little bit warmer. They're also looking at a little bit less wind. So overall, the farther east you can go, the better off you get with this. Less snow, warmer temperatures, and less wind. That's a pretty good recipe right there. 20 to 30 mile per hour wind gusts, though, in Great Falls. So it is going to be a little bit breezy for many of us tomorrow. So kind of bad news in the forecast for tomorrow, but then things get quite a bit nicer from there. 7-day forecast looks pretty nice. Partly cloudy, 40 degrees for our Thursday. By the time we get to Friday, temperatures are actually all the way back up into the 50s. Fairly comfortable for this time of year. A little bit of cooler air is going to move in, though, as we head into the day on Saturday. Alongside that, we're going to see a little mix of rain and snow, and then nice ridge builds in as we head into next week. So the latter half of the weekend looks nice, and next week looks pretty nice, too. Shannon?
Thanks, Brandon. For some farmers, the spring season means some of their crops are getting ready to be harvested. But the coronavirus is creating a challenge for farmers who, as Maya Rodriguez shows us, can't find enough workers to help with their crops.
Across more than 2,000 acres in Southern Virginia, Robert Mills lives his life's work at Briarview Farms.
We're a pretty diverse operation.
It's a nimble operation he runs with his family and about 10 workers.
Most of the workers that do come here are through the H-2A program, which is a guest visa program that's administered through the federal government.
But he's having trouble getting those workers. Because of the coronavirus, the U.S. is not processing any new guest worker visa applications. But Mills's workers are not new. They've worked on his farm before, but still haven't been allowed to enter the country this year.
We don't know what the holdup is right now. There's no red flags flying showing that why our workers are being delayed some.
While Mills uses fewer than 10 guest workers, other farms in the U.S. use many more to harvest their crops. The Department of Labor says in March and April of last year, there were more than 77,000 H-2A visas issued.
When you start talking about perishable items, it's very critical that we get that workforce here.
Mills hoped to find some help in the new $2 trillion federal stimulus package, which is also supposed to help farmers. But it turns out, not his farm.
Because I work H-2A workers, I didn't qualify. And so that was very disappointing to me.
But on the farm, there are other issues beyond just getting workers. Prices on a number of agriculture products remain low.
So we were already in a depressed market because of the tariff.
The tariff refers to what many farmers are still reeling from, the recent U.S. trade war with China. The president addressed it during a coronavirus briefing.
As of April 1st, the China trade deal, $250 billion. They purchased $250 billion from us, if not more. And of that, approximately $50 billion is expected to be with our farmers.
Back at Briarview Farms,
we're talking about food safety and food security.
Robert Mills says he hopes farms like his can weather this latest storm.
We're a resilient group of people, and this too shall pass. But right now, we got to make sure that our agricultural community is looked after.
An ag community we all depend on. In Callens, Virginia, I'm Maya Rodriguez reporting.
When we come back, America's favorite pastime, still planning for a season. We'll check in with the Voyagers ahead of their hopeful June opening day.
Powered by the Montana Television Network. The 10 o'clock news continues on KRTV, Montana's news leader.
Just over a month ago, the biggest concern for the Great Falls Voyagers was that 2020 might be the franchise's last season amid minor league contraction talks. But now, with coronavirus already delaying the start of the major league season, the Voyagers are dealing with a new reality and a new set of challenges. Tom Wiley explains.
Minor league baseball teams are considered non-essential businesses. So just like every organization across the country, the Great Falls Voyagers offices are shut down here at Centene Stadium. But while the ballpark is closed, the work continues as the Voyagers staff holds out hope that the season will start on schedule in late June.
Absolutely, yeah. What we're doing really is working with sponsors, making sure everything's still on track as far as getting our giveaways delivered, making sure our menus are set, making sure everything's up and running with our staff, so that as soon as we're allowed to hit the ground again from the state standpoint, that we can get up and get ramped up early and make sure that there's a fun Voyager season.
Opening day is set for June 25th in Great Falls, so there's still some time for conditions to improve. Minor league teams take their cues from the major leagues, so until professional baseball starts in the bigs, the Voyagers are in a holding pattern.
Everyone's working to see when we can come back and get started. Luckily, we're short season, so we're not scheduled to start until late June anyway. So that puts us in a pretty nice position to hopefully get started on time.
There have been several proposals floated and reported for starting the major league season, from playing the games without fans to holding the entire season in one state at one facility, but those won't work in the minors.
Obviously, minor league baseball is a different animal than major league baseball. We don't have the TV rights. We don't put a Voyager game or on TV and make millions of dollars. Great Falls and all of minor league baseball, we rely 100% on our fans and the community. Really hope that we can get to a point where fans can come back into the ballpark.
In the meantime, Voyagers fans can find a welcome distraction online. Each Pioneer League team has released an all-time roster for their franchise and are facing off in a bracket. Reasoner likes the Voyagers' chances.
We're the only team sporting 4 Hall of Famers in our roster, and it's fun to see just the collection of talent over the years that has come through Great Falls playing professional baseball here in our market.
You can find the roster, the brackets, and where to vote on the Voyagers website. We've also shared that link at montanasports.com. Reporting from Great Falls, Tom Wiley, MTN News.
Thanks, Tom. Well, despite the pandemic, the music community in Great Falls continues to garner praise. For the 9th year in a row, Great Falls has been named among the best communities for music education by the National Association of Music Merchants. The award is given to school districts that demonstrate outstanding achievement in efforts to provide music access and education to all students. Great Falls was one of 4 Montana communities to win the award this year. Great Falls Public Schools Music and Arts Supervisor Dusty Molyneux said that music classes from elementary to high school are facing numerous hurdles in online learning during the COVID-19 pandemic. So seeing Great Falls on the list this year is especially reaffirming for students and teachers alike.
This was a real shot in the arm to come back from spring break and see this email sitting in the inbox there. Even though all the wonderful things that we do in the community, to get an award like this, we can't do right now. But it does give you some fuel for the fire to really kind of just dig in and keep working on planning events and trying to make things as best we can for the kids right now, and connecting with them and making sure that all the great experiences that we have as a district don't go away.
Now, there is a silver lining to online learning. Molyneux said it gives teachers more time to work with students on music theory and history. A final look at your forecast, plus how some people are entertaining themselves in quarantine right after this. Well, that's all the time we have for tonight. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you tomorrow.